current president has cloaked American darkness for much too long. Too much anger, too much fear, too much division. Here and now, I give you my word. If you entrust me with the presidency, I will draw on the best of us, not the worst. I'll be an ally of the light, not the darkness. It's time for us, for we the people, to come together. United, we can and will overcome this season of darkness in America. For love is more powerful than hate, hope is more powerful than fear, and light is more powerful than dark. I'll be an ally of the light, not the darkness. I'll be an ally of the light, not the darkness. I'll be an ally of the light, not the darkness. I'll be an ally of the light, not the darkness. Light is more powerful than dark. 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 If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
2 weeks late, we still don't have Michigan's audit of the state's election results. And as our Grant Herms reports, although the 2020 election is long past, there are still new videos alleging fraud making the rounds on election night in Detroit.
Can I just put another thing to you? Because I've watched this whole debate, right? And you've been completely unflagging in your refusal to accept defeat. And
you know why, though? You know why? Because if our country doesn't have fair and free elections, and if our country doesn't have borders, we don't have a country.
Okay.
We have crooked, corrupt elections.
Here's what I would say to you.
And I've proven it.
Here's what I would say to you. I believe it was a free and fair election and that you lost.
You don't really believe
That's my belief.
Well, then you're a fool.
However,
then you're a fool.
Maybe I am the fool. Maybe I'm the fool in this conversation.
And you're a fool and you haven't studied it.
On the air in the West tonight, President Trump addressing the American people just a short time ago as the toll of the coronavirus widens here in the U.S. The president sought to reassure the American people, saying, quote, "We are marshaling the full power of the federal government to protect the American people." And the president suspending all travel from Europe to the U.S. for 30 days, excluding the U.K. The president's words come after the World Health Organization today declared the coronavirus a global pandemic, citing the alarming levels of spread, but also the alarming levels of inaction in their words. The death toll rising here in the U.S. to at least 36, more than 1,200 cases now reported in 42 states and Washington, D.C. Tonight, 4 more states added just today.
Sade, 1 million deaths nationwide, 112,440 of those in the tri-state area alone. Those numbers are hard to process when a little more than 2 years ago, things like positivity rates, PCR tests, and pandemic weren't really part of our vocabulary, let alone part of our daily conversation.
1 million COVID deaths, 1 million empty chairs around the family dinner table. Each irreplaceable losses.
Located in China's central Hubei province, the Three Gorges Dam was designed in part to protect the tens of millions living close to the Yangtze, Asia's longest river, from devastating flooding. But this year, record downpours are testing the limits of the world's largest hydroelectric project. Water levels are at their highest since the dam was constructed 14 years ago, and locals are worried.
I feel scared. I've never seen the water level so high. The noise is so loud that my door rattles.
Weeks of torrential rain have flooded the Yangtze and several tributaries, forcing hundreds of thousands from their homes.
A powerful storm drenched New York with staggering amounts of rain and deadly flash floods. Just north of New York City, parts of the Hudson Valley saw once-in-a-millennium levels of rainfall. This was the scene in Highland Falls, New York.
Look at the people's doors!
Where a woman was reportedly swept away by raging floodwaters and drowned while trying to evacuate her home with her dog.
Europe is in the grip of its most extreme drought in decades. Record-breaking heat waves linked to climate change have dried up rivers across the continent and sent water reserves plummeting to historic lows. Scientists have warned that scorching summers and drier winters will likely become the new normal due to human-induced global warming.
Europe's rivers are disappearing. Italy's Po is yet another casualty of the severe drought gripping much of the continent. The river would normally be teeming with tourists. Instead, its drying bed is littered with empty boats. Those living near Italy's longest river say the situation is unprecedented.
I'm young, and I do not remember anything like this. But even the elderly of my village and the villages around here have never seen something like this, never ever.
They are the lifelines of modern civilization. Rivers at once majestic and powerful, powering towns with electricity, connecting buyers and sellers,
and supplying people with food and water. Now their past and future are at stake.
Here in Arizona, the Colorado River is about 20% smaller than it was just 20 years ago.
Here in Germany, the Rhine River, which carries goods to most of Europe, has reached 5 feet below normal levels.
And here in China, the Yangtze River is now so dry, factories have been shut down and shipping is slowed. Experts here say they've never seen it this bad, and it's likely to get worse.
This message from the year 1616. The inscription reads, "When you see this, weep." The boulders have reappeared in the river Elbe, which flows through the Czech Republic. The Czechs call them the hunger stones, and the drying river has revealed dozens of them.
In recent years, some of them have been appearing every year. That's since 2015, when we'd had the dry conditions that we've had recently.
The mighty Mississippi River
along the Mississippi River bank, because it's at a historic low,
is the measly Mississippi.
Where I'm standing normally is underwater.
Within the last month, at least 5 river gauges bottoming out to the lowest level since records began as early as the 1890s. A century-old shipwreck near Baton Rouge exposed.
Look what I just found. It's a Civil War belt buckle. That's insane.
Fossils and relics littering the now dry riverbed. Drought along the entire length of the Mississippi, with parched riverbed from Wisconsin to Tennessee. Thousands of people flocking to Tower Rock in Missouri by foot.
Who knew there would come a time when the mighty river of Euphrates would actually start drying up? Yes, the ancient prophecies and the whispers of ominous warnings of impending doom have now spread throughout the land. The part of the river that flows through Iraq has already started declining, as the people in Iraq who entirely depended on this river's water face one of the worst droughts they've ever seen. While the water level is much higher in the Euphrates during April and May, the river now faces lower levels. But why is it happening? Are the people who connected drying up with the end of the world right about it?
Little time to escape the danger. A summer's worth of rain, nearly 40 centimeters over the course of 24 hours, flooded the streets of northern Texas. Stranded drivers swam to safety while rescue crews jumped into action. A local journalist stopped his reporting to pull a trapped woman out her car window, carrying her through thigh-deep waters to safety.
I thought I was going to die. Right then, I was just panicking because I just wanted to get out of my car and get out of the water. I wanted to get my car out of the water, but it's clearly gone.
It wasn't just drivers stuck in this mess. Homes have been heavily damaged too.
I'm freaking out. My apartment is literally flooding. I just woke up and should I call 911? What do I do?
I need y'all to do me a favor. Someone please call 911.
Oh boy. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, you're telling me.
This is nuts.
Similar scenes played out along the main street of Moab, Utah over the weekend. Flash flooding at Zion National Park swept hikers off their feet. This man holding onto a log survived, but one woman is still missing. And more than 100 people were stranded at a national park in New Mexico when the roads became impassable.
Torrential rain triggering catastrophic flooding on the East Coast. At least one person was killed. Crews racing to rescue people through the night.
And in addition to the rain, we know that millions are suffering from that triple-digit heat from coast to coast with no relief in sight.
It has been constant. It hasn't let up. The ground just moves. Moist.
There's just no escaping them.
This one will be probably the worst mouse plague I've ever been through. I've been through 3 others over the years. Hay in the hay shed where it's probably $50,000, $60,000 ruined. Grain stored in big plastic bags. They've eaten them and ruined them. Everywhere they can go, they'll go. A lot of households have lost fridges and microwaves and all that where they've got in and chewed wiring and burnt them out.
Oh, Mickey, go, go, go!
Same with cars, tractors, anything where they can get in, they'll get in and chew.
Neighbours and friends out there lying in bed and a mouse runs across the bed.
I woke up swishing a mouse out of my head.
It's like the plagues of Egypt there.
Imemaliza mfugo yangu na imemaliza tena ile shamba nililima, so nimebagiwa na mbuzi 4, so mimi nakaa tu peke yangu na watoto yangu tu namna hiyo.
This is the unmistakable roar of a firestorm.
Flames licking at the roadway. An ominous orange glow across the blackened sky, and residents scrambling to make it out.
The state of California has declared a state of emergency because of wildfires that have been started by lightning storms.
Officials say nearly 11,000 lightning strikes occurred in 72 hours, starting hundreds of new fires and forcing many people to leave their homes.
Fire alerts. The Department of Natural Resources says the Gray Fire in Spokane County in central Washington now covers almost 11,000 acres. That's up 1,500 acres from just yesterday. There's one confirmed death. Over 185 structures have been consumed by these flames. This is near Medical Lake and Cheney, which is just west of Spokane. No containment tonight.
Wildfires raging across Europe. Germany, Portugal, and France among some of the countries seeing the most devastation from historic fires this summer. In southwestern France, video shows the sky tinted with a fiery red as wildfires burn through the region and across the country, including a monster wildfire near the city of Bordeaux, known for its wine, being fought by more than 1,000 firefighters.
Le feu se propageant de nuit, on s'est retrouvé vraiment dans une situation extrêmement difficile, un feu qui est arrivé très violent et très rapidement sur la zone. Et voilà, on a protégé l'essentiel des maisons du hameau. Malheureusement, plusieurs maisons ont été détruites.
Officials say 9 aircraft and 2 helicopters have been deployed as well. So far, more than 10,000 people have been evacuated, at least 17 homes destroyed, and tonight, a major highway closed.
On a eu de la chance, on a eu des maisons qui ont été sauvées, mais après, vous voyez des catastrophes autour, là-bas, il y a des maisons qui n'ont pas pu être sauvées.
The country caught in its worst scenario, an unprecedented drought met with a historic heat wave, the 4th one this summer alone, temperatures breaking 100 degrees. More than 6,200 hectares have burned in the Gironde region in this latest wildfire. The region, known for its pine forests, was already ravaged by flames last month. 39,000 people were forced to evacuate. Now farmers and fishermen are facing a tough reality. Rivers running dry, experts calling this the worst drought in 500 years. Thousands of dead fish lay on top of old riverbeds.
Donc là, on l'a vu, il y a pas mal de poissons qui sont morts, d'autres qui sont en souffrance encore. Donc là, voilà, c'est une cours d'eau en voie d'assèchement quasiment total.
Crops are drying up and livestock is suffering from the heat and lack of grass.
On est obligé d'emmener à manger aux animaux qui sont sur cette prairie parce que la pousse de l'herbe aujourd'hui suffit pas à subvenir aux besoins des animaux.
As of tonight, the fires and the drought continue.
Massive tornado hitting.
Slamming the Gulf Coast. 2020 shattering records around the world for some of the wildest weather ever recorded.
Deadly wildfires raging up and down the West Coast.
go, go, go.
More than 10 million acres charred, mostly in California, Colorado, and the Pacific Northwest.
What's happening with fires in the West right now is exactly what has been predicted with climate change. The atmosphere is hotter and drier.
Hey, time to move the hose line up.
Fire crews battling walls of flames.
I've been covering fires for half a dozen years or more. I've never seen this. The sky completely orange.
This is the strongest hurricane to hit this part of the Gulf Coast in history.
The amount of damage around Lake Charles is just incredible. Some of the winds from Hurricane Laura took upper floors of this hotel and ripped it to shreds.
30 named storms in the Atlantic, the most in history.
The most extreme storms, the strongest winds we've ever recorded, have been in the last 5 years.
Oh my God.
And heartache in the heartland. From that epic derecho with 130-mile-per-hour straight-line winds in a line of thunderstorms battering Cedar Rapids in August.
This is what an EF4 tornado can do. Winds of 175 miles per hour, shredding this neighborhood.
To multiple tornadoes ripping through a suburb of Nashville, deadly and destructive in Missouri, Alabama, and Tennessee.
Tornado Alley is expanding to practically be a third of the country. Climate change is the explanation of the overall trend.
10,000 miles away, teenagers in Australia rescuing these koalas from the worst wildfires in Australia's history.
2020 is the beginning of the age of catastrophe. It's kind of the future warning us about what's on the cards for us. Because the grim truth that I think we're not facing is that our civilization is now beginning to collapse in very real and very serious ways.